Hello, and welcome to Grim and Whim, unnerving tales to haunt, mystify, and spark curiosity. Let's be
Curious together.
Today we will be looking at the corrupt and sketchy practices by a well-known company that you might not expect. I mean, I sure didn't. And that company is FOREVER21. Now, full disclosure, in high school and for much of my college career, I loved FOREVER21. It was inexpensive, it had newer trends in stock, and even though the dressing rooms were always a hot mess, I liked going in there with my friends and just checking out the deals, seeing what was on sale. And I remember finding a lot of cute things there back in the day. I can't speak to what it's like now because I haven't been inside a physical FOREVER21 in a long time. And seeing that I'm 30, I think that that's probably fine that I don't step in one. But I liked going there, with friends walking around. But with all the current talk of fast fashion companies like Shein, Boohoo, Temu, or Fashion Nova, many people forget that FOREVER21 was honestly one of the first that really popularized the fast fashion trend in the 2010s. But what we know about fast fashion companies is that they tend not to be the most ethical. And so how ethical are companies like FOREVER21? Today we will be diving into the company's not so environmental and labor-friendly practices in a new segment on Grim and Whim that I'm naming Corruption Incorporated. FOREVER21 was originally founded in Los Angeles on April 16th, 1984, and it was originally under the name Fashion 21, and the store was founded by Do Wan Chang and Jin Suk Chang, married immigrants from South Korea. And by all accounts, the store's humble beginnings seemed quite wholesome. The couple used their life savings to open the store, and the clothing designs were similar to those that you might see in South Korea. And the store actually was meant to target their clothing to the Korean American community in Los Angeles. The Changs later made some big changes, including changing the name to FOREVER21, and the business model changed to fast fashion. The company expanded quickly, and by 2008, the number of stores had doubled to around 400 worldwide. But with that expansion came an increase in controversy, and soon this family-owned business transformed into the company we know today, which honestly has become synonymous with quantity over quality. Selling tank tops for under $5 or on-trend accessories that will fall apart by the time that trend dies. By 2011, the company was involved in several big scandals. The Center for Environmental Health found that FOREVER21 had been selling jewelry containing cadmium, which is a toxic metal. I remember this jewelry, and I definitely remember it not being the best quality. Like, you would buy it and pretty quickly it would fall apart. And I don't personally remember having any negative reactions to the metal, which I'm surprised that I didn't because I have pretty sensitive skin. Like, my skin tends to be more sensitive to fragrance and, certain makeups and things like that. But I don't remember having any negative reactions to the jewelry. But that being said, I do remember it falling apart super, super easy. And the cheap price tag definitely showed up in the quality. Also in 2011, several FOREVER21 women's tops were under scrutiny for anti-education and pretty sexist sayings. Some of them included allergic to algebra, school sucks. And another said, I heart school on the front. And then you flip it on the back and it says not. And because these shirts were targeted to younger girls, this isn't exactly the best message to be sending, not the best vibe to be putting out, especially since, in this time period, there weren't as many women in STEM. It was, sort of becoming more of a thing, but it wasn't something that really should have been put out there. It's certainly not an uplifting thing, for women. In June 2011, Rachel Kane, a Forever 21 customer and writer, created a blog with the domain name WTF and then Forever 21. And she posted pictures of some Forever 21 items and just kind of voiced her opinions about the clothing. And apparently Forever 21 couldn't handle the criticism because they slammed her with a lawsuit to take down the blog. Like I said before, the Forever 21 brand is targeted to high school age girls, all the way to women in their 20s. So you'd hope that the brand would be mindful of that demographic, but unfortunately, some of the practices are downright toxic and they just don't seem to be too worried about uplifting women and paying attention to social issues surrounding women. And we discussed already the sexist t-shirts, but did you know that at one point in time, Forever 21 was pushing weight loss bars? I don't know why they thought this was a good idea, but in July 2019, the company was accused of fat shaming when they included weight loss bars with orders containing plus size clothing. And Forever 21 did apologize, claiming that this was an oversight, but it seems like a pretty convenient excuse. And I just don't know how nobody on the marketing team realized how bad of an idea that would be. When selling to a younger crowd, it's important to be aware of pop culture. But Forever 21 has a tendency to be a bit misguided with their marketing choices. For example, they sold a Black Panther sweater using a white model. And this is Black Panther like the movie, not like the Black Panther power movement, but either way, it does not make any sense for them to use a white model. And then they also sold a pair of biker shorts with Trump's favorite line, "fake news," written all over the shorts. And I just don't know if the design team is ignorant or delusional, careless, but they just don't seem to have a clue when it comes to marketing. I don't know if you've ever gone onto the Forever 21 website and just looked at some of the pictures of the clothing. It's just, I don't know. It's an interesting experience to say the least. And remember, this is a brand that is mainly for teens and young adults. So you would hope that the brand would be a bit more responsible with their choices. But alas, it seems that Forever 21 only cares about pushing out products and pushing them out fast. And who cares if it's offensive? Next, we're moving on to the labor conditions. And the labor conditions of most fast fashion companies are unethical. And Forever 21 is unfortunately no different. According to the source goodonyou.eco, Forever 21's company rating is abysmal. It is very low. They received a score between 0 to 10% in the Fashion Transparency Index, and the company scored so low due to none of the supply chain being certified by labor standards. And these labor standards are essential. It ensures that workers are healthy, safe, have access to the things that they need, and of course, have livable wages. And the company also lacked information about whether or not there were policies or safeguards in place to protect their suppliers and, their workers on the front line with the things that they need to protect them from the impact of COVID-19. And you'd think that a company that is worth over $81 million would take the time, the money, the effort to ensure that their workers are safe and that they're able to, perform their job and perform it well. But once again, profit over people. And we saw it here, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. In September 2001, the Asian Pacific American Legal Center and the Garment Worker Center, which are both groups that are put in place to protect workers' rights, they filed a lawsuit against Forever 21 for violating labor practice laws. And the claim was that 19 of their contracted employees received less than the minimum wage. Their hours on their time cards were reduced, likely to avoid having to pay them overtime. And the employees were facing sweatshop-like working conditions. And they feared the threat of being fired if they, went and complained about these conditions. And so, of course, that makes it very difficult for the workers to feel like they have any kind of agency in the company. Forever 21, of course, denied these accusations, and they fired back with a defamation lawsuit in 2002. Throughout the years, workers have also made claims that the company made them work through their lunch breaks. They complained that the safety hazards in both the stores and the factories were obviously hazardous and, put themselves and, anyone who was in the stores at risk. And there hasn't been any progress towards paying the employees across its supply chain with a livable wage. Finally, let's look at the environmental impact of this company. One upside to Forever 21 is that the retailer does not use fur, angora, leather, down, or exotic animal skin in their products. It does use wool, however, and some animal hair. And while they do have general statements about minimizing animal suffering, there is no formal animal welfare policy, which is pretty concerning that they don't have anything laid out that's specific. But once again, like I said before, there's definitely a lack of transparency when it comes to Forever 21. They keep a lot of things under wraps. And I think they kind of choose their wording to be pretty vague to cover themselves. And it doesn't seem like they take much of a stand on anything really important. And in general, Forever 21 and their frustrating lack of transparency with regards to its sustainability policies has definitely made people concerned, especially nowadays when now more than ever, the consumer is trying to be an intelligent consumer and be aware of the environmental impact of whatever they buy or whatever they consume. More and more fast fashion pieces end up in landfills, and you can expect that these pieces will last maybe a season, maybe even less, because of the quality. And I do want to make it clear that I'm not shaming anyone for buying fast fashion. I myself have purchased, fast fashion pieces. I tend to mainly shop in thrift stores, and that's just a preference of mine. It's how I've been for a long time. And it's something that I like, and it's also great for my budget. But sometimes fast fashion is the only option for your budget. Not to mention, many fast fashion retailers have more options for plus size or full figured people. And so it just makes more sense for some people to utilize fast fashion as a resource for them to get, their clothing. That being said, it is important to know where your fashion comes from and the overall impact to the environment. And with Forever 21's lack of transparency about the subject, it just doesn't seem that they believe that their environmental impact and commitment to sustainability is really a priority. I mean, at least it doesn't come off that way. In conclusion, is Forever 21 a corrupt company? In some ways, yeah, and in other ways, no. Forever 21 has been a staple for many young people, including myself. And it's affordable. The affordable prices make it more accessible. That being said, the quality of the fashion, the labor conditions, their strange choices in marketing, and their environmental impact is less than desirable. And with all that being said, as a consumer, you get to decide where you want to put your money. And no company is perfect. Every company has flaws and things to improve on. And so it's important to be aware of the issues and consider your options. And so I hope that you got some more information about this big business and can move forward being more informed and more aware of the issues that face the consumer when purchasing fast fashion. Thank you for coming to my channel. I have a podcast called Grim Whim, and I wanted to transition over to YouTube as well to have a visual component to the audio. So if you're over here from the podcast, welcome. And if you've never seen me before or never heard my voice or are completely unfamiliar with Grim Whim, hi, welcome. And if you would like to, you can hit the subscribe button. And I post videos and / podcast episodes every Friday.
Thank you so much for joining me. It's goodbye for now, but I hope to haunt you again soon.